Hey, folks, welcome back. And this is going to be uh, a quiz video. I'm going to give answers to a quiz which has been going around for a couple of weeks. It's called the About You movie quiz. Give us a chance to tell everybody something about ourselves, about our movie watching habits, etc. And like I said, it's been around for a few weeks, and I'm very late to the party. No big surprise there. But it was started by a channel named Vulgarian Troglodyte. Okay. And I'll put a link below to his video that started it all and invite anybody within the sound of my voice to join in if you'd like to make a video and give your own responses. Some of these are pretty easy questions. There are 24 questions or points of discussion and some of them took a little bit of thought. So that's one of my excuses for not doing this sooner. Okay. Anyway, here we go. Number one, this is easy. Favorite film? Well, I've been saying for years that my favorite film is The Night of the Hunter, and it still is. But lately, I've come to the conclusion that there's a three-way tie between this movie, Casablanca, and Hitchcock's Vertigo. Okay. Next up is Best Script. And that was a tough one because there were so many I could choose, but I decided to choose All About Eve. Okay. And which, by the way, won Best Screenplay back in 1950, written by Joseph M. Mankiewicz, who also directed the film and was also Best Picture. And he won Best Director as well. Anyway, shut up, Mike. Next up is Favorite Poster. Okay, here we go. I can show you from this nice little book. Okay, Mike, where is it? Ha, here you go. La Maschera del Demonio. Yeah, my Italian's pretty bad. 1960, the film directed by Mario Bava, starring Miss Barbara Steele, which in America is called Black Sunday. That is the original Italian poster, okay? Which is pretty creepy. Next up is, okay, I'll watch it someday. I keep telling myself I will watch this someday. Dr. Zhivago, which I've never seen, missed it when it was back playing, what, 1965, I think it was, 67, I can't remember now. But I picked up this Blu-ray, this nice digibook, used a little while ago, and I will get around to watching this. I just haven't done it yet. Next up is most okay, big personal impact. Well, I've talked about this before, and this is a film that I don't own, but it's Saving Private Ryan, which I saw with my father, who was in World War II and was in Europe at the time when they were preparing for the D-Day invasion, although he did not take part in that. I don't know why. He never talked about it. But sitting there next to my dad watching this very visceral film was a very emotional experience and something I'll never forget. But I don't own the film. I thought it was a great film, but I don't think I could ever watch it again. Okay. Next up is best long movie. A lot of things I could choose, but I will pick what I consider to be a perfect film. That is Ben Hur, which clocks in at 222 minutes. Is that long enough for anybody? Yeah. Okay. Uh, okay. You like it, but everyone else hates it. Well, I couldn't really think of a film that I like or love that people have actually said they hate it. But I chose one of my favorite films that I've talked about again and again, trying to encourage people to see it, and I don't think I made any impact at all. I don't think people hate it or maybe even dislike it, but they just don't seem to be interested in seeing it. But I think The Sadist from 1963 is a great, great film, and I'll recommend it again. Okay. Next up is You Hate It, but everyone else likes it. Okay. Well, I've already talked about my dislike for No Country for Old Men, but I'll pick another one, and that is Dazed and Confused, which I used to own a copy of, and I had great hopes for this film because I like a lot of the work by the same director, but I couldn't get into it all at all. I didn't like the film at all. Tried to watch it a second time, and I was just irritated me. So I know that's very unpopular opinion because that is a very well liked movie. So I get it. Next up is underrated. I'm going to choose Woody Allen's Interiors, which was his first attempt at a series film back in 1978. I've always loved this movie, and it took a big critical bashing at the time. It still does. I think that I'm not sure if it ever made money. I think it was considered to be a colossal failure by a lot of people after he had made such a big hit with Annie Hall. His reputation was probably at its apex, and then he did this, took a big chance, and but I love the film, always have. Okay. Overrated. Okay. Here's another popular film that everybody loves except me. Grease. I was never crazy about this movie. I saw this back when it came out, and I thought, that's okay. It didn't bring back the whole feeling about the 1950s for me at all. And I don't like most of the music. Some of it's okay. Performances, cartoonish. Maybe that was the point. I don't know. But I rewatched it again just a couple of weeks ago, and I decided I don't need to keep this, and it's going in the goodwill pile. So next up is why do I like this? Good question. Stoker. Anybody seen this? This was a Big Lots $3 blind buy, and I just picked it up out of curiosity. Nicole Kidman, Mia Wasikowska, Matthew Good. Very strange. Not really a horror. Well, it's kind of a horror film, psychological thriller. It goes off in some really bizarre directions, and it's very impressive. I don't know why I'm so fascinated with it because it's filled with unlikable people. Dermot Mulroney is also in it. He's the only likable character in the film, and he gets killed halfway through. But yeah, anybody seen this? Stoker. Okay. Now we're up to okay, the best soundtrack. Okay, Star Trek: First Contact, my favorite Star Trek film. Music by Jerry Goldsmith. Okay, let's see. That cinematography. No contest. Days of Heaven. Okay. Bad Day Cure. Cure for a bad day. Feeling bad. What would you put on in your DVD player? I would put on Educating Rita, which I have watched numerous times and it never fails to lift me up. Favorite protagonist? This was a tough one because there are so many I could choose. But I decided to rewatch a film I've only seen once before. That is First Reformed, starring Ethan Hawke, which is not exactly a feel-good movie, but powerful performance by Ethan Hawke as a minister who was going through personal crisis. And well, you have to see this to see what he does to try to solve that crisis. But yeah, the arc of this character is really incredible. Great performance by Ethan Hawke. Next up is favorite trilogy. Oh, that's easy. Okay, Lord of the Rings. Yep, and I've got the theatrical cut. I also have the extended play DVDs, which I still have never watched. I'm long overdue for a rewatch of Lord of the Rings. Okay. Biggest letdown. This is a film I don't own. I did own it for a while. The 1960 film Exodus, starring Paul Newman, Eva Marie Saint, let's see, Salminio, based on a novel by Leon Uris, which I never saw the movie until I read the novel about maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago. The novel is incredible, and I had great hopes for seeing the film. The film was a big disappointment. And I think, for one thing, the novel is so rich with its character development and intertwining stories of the characters and a long history, timeline of events that the movie would have had to have been 5 hours long if they were really going to do it justice. But it was a big disappointment. The characters were not developed at all. Even though I liked the performance by Paul Newman, Sal Mineo did a good job with what he was given to do, nominated for a Best Supporting Actor Oscar. But yeah, big letdown. Biggest surprise? Oh, okay, here we go. Double Door. Picked this up a couple of years ago at one of the Kino Lorber sales, just out of curiosity, and I'd never heard of it, but it just intrigued me, the title and all that. Wow, what a great kind of a horror film, mostly a dark family gothic drama, starring this stage actress named Mary Morris, who only appeared in this film and no other. But if she never did anything else, and she will always be remembered. What an incredible actress, Mary Morris. Okay, and let's see, not the best, but having fun. I chose this 1941 comedy, The Bride Came COD, starring Betty Davis and James Cagney, the second film that they appeared in together, and the last one. And it's a comedy. It's not great. It's kind of another takeoff on It Happened One Night, and they try to update it a little bit. Uh, Not a great comedy. Not the apex of the careers of these two legendary players. Betty Davis hated the film, but it's fun to watch. They do a little slapstick comedy here and there, and they have fights and quips and quotes and all this sort of thing. So yeah, Bride Came COD. Let's see, Criminally Overlooked. Okay, from 1961, Something Wild. Carol Baker and Ralph Meeker. And I've talked about this before in other videos, and I don't hear a lot of people mentioning this, but I think it's a great, great film, and I highly recommend it. Next up, depressing movie. No, well, I like to watch a lot of depressing movies, but Love Streams, directed by John Cassavetes, who also wrote it, of course, stars in the film along with his wife Jenna Rollins. Great performances. Not a pleasant film to watch, but very rewarding in its impact. There are scenes in this film that will just make you want to just run out of the theater. They're so sad and tragic. But great acting by Cassavetes and Jenna Rollins. Seymour Cassell is also in it, right? And then finally we have okay, favorite active director is Woody Allen, and I don't think every film that he's ever made has been great, but he is consistently fascinating and worth watching, even in some of his lesser known films. And I realize that Woody Allen is controversial for a lot of people because of his not so much for his work, but for his personal life. And I understand that. I understand that. I have my own feelings about that, but that's not my purpose right here. But yeah, I think he's made a lot of great films. I think he's pretty much retired now. He's what, 80, 89, 90 years old. I don't think he's done anything in the last couple of years. And anyway, that's my choice for that. Uh, Favorite animated movie? I'm going to go way back to the dark days of my childhood and choose Fantasia by Walt Disney. Another film that I don't own, although I should get it. And finally, not usually my thing, but dot dot dot. Okay, this may surprise a lot of people, but I'm going to choose the movie 8 Mile starring Eminem, which I don't own. Um, I'm not a fan of Eminem. I hate rap. I hated it then. I hate it now. Way back in 2002, or shortly after this film came out, somebody handed me this movie. I think they recorded it off of television or something, but they handed me this and said, "Here, watch this." Okay, why not? And I watched it all the way through with an open mind, and I was quite surprised. Eminem was a good actor in that film, and I don't know why he didn't continue acting. I have no idea. The rapping that he did within that story, which reflected what his character was going through, it worked. It made sense, and so in that for that reason, I understood it and I appreciated it. But it didn't make me want to go out and buy Eminem's CDs. But yeah, 8 Mile. So all right, so those are my answers. Once again, I ask anybody who would like to join in and do this quiz. Okay, comments are welcome.